guys are third in the league in fewest false starts. Aaron was talking about earlier what it takes for a young lineman to just get in sync with his voice, his snap count. What's that process like, and has that been impressive to you that you guys haven't really had many of those?
No, I think that's what we start from day one. We have a lot of different snap counts and things like that. So I think teams that I've been on in the past that have struggled with that don't work on it enough. And we pretty much work on it from day one, right from the first snap of, OTAs. We're going on all kinds of different snap counts. So I think guys are just used to it and they're dialed into it, and it just becomes second nature. So, I think it's just something we constantly talk about and constantly work on.
Adam, forgive me for not being able to see this from the press box when Josh was playing, but did he have that snapping hand wrapped before when he was playing?
Yeah.
Okay, so he can function with that fine if he has to play with it?
Yeah, he's had no issues with any of that. That's been that way since, I believe, the Saints game once he heard it. So, yep.
What'd you think, though, Adam, of just how Lucas stepped up in that instance? And obviously that's been a position he's kind of fell into before with injuries, but just how'd you feel?
Yeah, he's stepped in over the last couple of years at center in different capacities, and he's done a really good job. He's a very reliable guy that you can plug in at any spot on the interior, and he'll do a great job. But no, he did a good job at center. There was a bad snap that, definitely scared me at the time. And then, just a couple communication things that we got to fix. But other than that, I thought he did a great job. He plays with great effort, gets everyone targeted, and he's a reliable guy.
You mean you don't have a direct snap?
Yeah.
In your offense, that's not in the play.
No, not yet. Might have to put that in, though.
That happened in that Dallas game 2 years ago,
Yes.
and Aaron Jones gets like 15 yards
Yeah.
every time you do it. You should put that in.
I know. It scares me.
So what changed with John? Obviously, he wasn't good enough to win a starting job in training camp. And then he gets his opportunity because of injury, and he's taking the ball and run with it, just to use the wrong sport metaphor.
Yeah, I think, a lot's been on him. I think, he may have been disappointed with how he played in camp and, knew that if I get another opportunity, maybe I'm not going to let it slip away or whatever it is. He's just playing more fundamentally sound and than he was in camp. And I think that is just every game you play as a young guy, you can always see it. They just get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better until they become a more polished player. And I think John's doing that. He's definitely improving every time he goes out there. He's very conscious about his fundamentals and just putting himself in the right position to succeed. He always plays with great effort, and he's got good athleticism. So it's just once you put yourself and your body in the right position, you definitely have a chance to block anybody.
Hey, Adam, so many times, Matt has come in here, he's talked about the job both you and Luke, excuse me, back on Lucas again.
Yeah.
But the job you guys have done in tandem together with the O-line room, I don't believe you guys had any crossover before you came together 3 years ago. Just wondering how that relationship has sort of worked and how much of a resource he is for you, in that number 2 spot.
Yeah, he's a tremendous resource. I lean on him very heavily, and it's nice to have a coach that works with you with as much experience as him. He's been coaching longer than I have, and a guy that just you can rely on to handle situations. When certain things come up, you can pass things off to him and he'll handle it. You can have him coach a certain group and I'll go coach a different group. You know what I mean? Just a guy you can trust that does a great job. And he's been a tremendous resource, and we're very lucky to have him.
Has anything Yash done surprised you?
Yeah, I think so. Just how well he's played in general over these last few games against the competition that he has. There have been some ups and downs, and like with any young player with not a lot of experience, it just is about the fundamentals that you play with and putting yourself in the best position to succeed. But he has been pretty consistent, and the one thing I like about him is just his physicality. He has flashed some pretty good physicality on film, which has been good. So I'm excited about where he can go in the future.
Could you help him a little bit less in this last game than you have been?
What'd you say? Sorry.
I said, did you help him a little less in this last game? Did you give him more one-on-one
Yeah, a lot of that just depends, on like what hash you're on and stuff like that, as far as the chips and where you're sliding and, how the defense aligns. So, yeah, maybe. But I thought overall, for the most part, when he had his one-on-one opportunities, he did a good job. There were a couple I'm sure that he'd like to have back, just playing with better fundamentals and stuff like that. But, he goes out there and he gives his team all he's got, and he's done a good job.
How's Elton? How's Elton looked? Does he look kind of back to where he should be, do you think?
Yeah, he's coming along. He's limited right now, and we're just gonna play it out like, give him stuff in practice that he can handle, and so far he's been doing a good job. So hopefully we can get him back here soon.
Adam, do you just, if he's ready to go, do you just automatically put him back at left tackle, or after what Yash has done, do you have to consider leaving him there?
Yeah, we've had that conversation. We definitely have. So I think we'll kind of see how he's feeling as the week goes along and see where the best spot is for him.
When do you want to know, Adam? Like, when do you want to have that decision made?
Usually by Friday, so you can get that last day of practice in. Everyone's feeling good about where they're playing. So hopefully by then, but you never know.
Often do you talk to Bakhtiari about what the process is going to be, starting next week? Whether you're going to start practicing, do you have to get in his head a little bit about how he's got to be careful with it?
Yeah, no, he's got a pretty good plan. He kind of informs me of what he's going to do. You know how Dave is. So it's just like, how you feeling? Good. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to work on today. And, just kind of, he's into like checking boxes and moving on with certain things. So I'm just excited to get him out here sometime soon. I think that would be great to just have him build that confidence in his knee and all that stuff to get him back on the field at some point this year.
Aaron was saying, I think it was last week, he said, if you had told him with Dave and Elton being out multiple games the first couple weeks of the season, he was like, I would have been ecstatic with 2 wins. I think you guys were 3-1 at the time. Has the group that you've had these first couple weeks exceeded your expectations, or did you have any when you went into it without Dave and Elton?
Well, we talk about this a lot in the O-line room, and it's true. It's the expectations are for the position. It's not for the guy. So whoever's lining up at left tackle, whoever's lining up at guard, whatever it is, that's the standard that you have to play with. So, you can sit back and say, if you don't succeed or you don't do something, you have that excuse of, well, these guys weren't in. This is why we don't have any wins. But you can't take that. You can't take that route. You have to put that expectation on your players to understand whose shoes you're filling, what role is expected of you, and then go out there and put them in a position to succeed. So, no, we go out there every time we go out there to play. It's to win, and our guys understand that, and I think they've done a really good job with that. So.